Welcome back, everyone. Last fall, I had the pleasure of watching young athletes age 14 to 25 test their speed, power, strength, and endurance at a qualifying event for RBC Training Ground, a program that finds and funds future Olympians.
And the program is working. RBC Training Ground has tested more than 12,000 athletes from across Canada, with more than 1,600 being identified by national sport organizations for their Olympic potential. Here to tell us more, please welcome RBC future Olympian Madeline LeBreton and RBC Olympian Cynthia Appiah. So great to have you both here. Now, Madeline, you attended the RBC Training Ground National Final in 2021. You were 17 years old. At the time, your sports were long distance running and what else? You were doing swimming, right?
Yes.
But then one of the coaches was like, no, you'd be a great cycler, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
I had no expectations going into it, and it ended up being a really fun opportunity. So I didn't think that they would pick me just based on the amount of talent that was out there. But the cycling coach for the national team was really impressed by my endurance results. So I got to go to the national final and meet all the athletes, and then they ended up picking me.
Wow. So, okay.
Incredible.
So that is amazing. So how did you react when Cycling Canada asked you to become a cyclist?
I kind of had an idea that it would be an endurance sport, so cycling was definitely on my radar, but I started training at the National Cycling Institute in Milton, and just 8 months later, I got to go to the Junior World Championships.
No big deal.
Crazy.
Whatever.
It's incredible. My goodness. Cynthia, you were on The Social last year. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see you. You talked about your experience being an RBC Olympian competing in bobsleigh. So welcome back. And
Thank
in
you.
honor of International Women's Day, how is CBC Training Ground helping future and present female athletes?
So RBC is doing a very great job of highlighting some of the issues that are unfortunately integral with women athletes. We know that awful statistic of girls as they transition from elementary to middle school to high school to university or post-secondary education, they drop off out of sports. They don't keep up with their physical education. So RBC Training Ground kind of comes in to fill in that gap, and especially on the financial side. Unfortunately, one of the unfortunate things about being a Canadian athlete is that financially we're not as funded as we would hope, but RBC steps in to fill in that gap and really highlights the importance of women in sport.
Wow. And RBC also facilitates mentorships, and you're actually being mentored by Kelsey Mitchell. Madeline, what is that like? Tell us everything. Olympian Kelsey Mitchell. How has it helped?
She's really fun. I thought she would be super hardcore because she's really fast and she competes at such a high level. But her whole thing is go fast, have fun. And she's definitely a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Especially when I went to the World Championships. She was there to kind of guide me through that process of how she mentally prepares to compete on the world stage, how she changes her nutrition and like mentally prepares. So that was really helpful
That's
for me.
huge, having her sort of in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, not in your back pocket, but you know what I mean.
Sort of, on your phone.
On your phone, like
yeah.
speed dial.
And we get to see each other at the velodrome because we train at the same facility.
Oh,
That's amazing. So Cynthia, as part of your role as an RBC Olympian, you're hoping to start mentoring younger athletes later this year. So why is it important to have a mentor for younger athletes, especially a female athlete?
Sport is such a difficult realm to really navigate, especially when you're coming from one sport to another, which is what RBC Training Ground does. Finds athletes from one sport that you might not be, not that you won't be good, but you might be better in a different sport. And it's always nice to have someone who's kind of been there to kind of guide you through, show you the mistakes that they've made so that you don't make those same mistakes and that your transition through sport is as smooth as possible. And it's so important for women. You know, we have so many stereotypes that we have to come against. You know, I'm very muscular, so I have to kind of fight against those negative stereotypes. So it's nice to have women who've been there to kind of be like, it's okay, you're just as valuable to sport as anybody else. And with it being International Women's Day, we're all about women empowerment. And one of the biggest things that I love is that I know I've got a great support system of women who will continue to empower me, and I will then pass it on to the next generation of athletes.
I love that. I love that, Cynthia. Now, did you have any mentors while you were coming up? Tell us about them.
I did. Some of the people that I hold near and dear to me are Shelly Ann Brown. She was a bobsledder back at the Vancouver 2010 Games. She was a silver medalist behind Helen Upperton. And she's had a similar trajectory in sport. And she's given me such great advice. And then the other person that I really look up to, and she's kind of like the blueprint that I'm trying to follow, is an American athlete, Ilana Myers-Taylor. She's currently on mat leave, but she really is the one person who I'm trying to emulate. Wow. She is such an angel, and she's always there when you need it. Like, we don't stay in close touch right now, obviously, because she's on her mat leave, but she always just like pops up right at the right moments. Like, she knows I'm in trouble, and she'll just come in and be like, hey, checking in on you, how are you doing? And those two have been integral to my success.
That's beautiful.
This is amazing that it's a cycle, right? You're new in the sport, and then you become a mentor, and the cycle continues, which is what we're trying to do. So, Madeline, my question to you is, RBC Training Ground events, which are free, are happening across the country in March and April. So what advice do you have for young athletes who are considering attending, especially the younger ones?
I would say just go into it with an open mind and give it your best, because you never know what could happen. It's been an opportunity that's really changed my life, and it's been super, super fun. So especially for young girls, I would say that for me personally, staying in sports through like my high school and my middle school years was one of the best decisions I've made. Just because we have this community of people who uplift you, and we have a support system that people who drop out of sports don't get to experience.
Oh, wow, that's really nicely said. Madeline, Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And young athletes, listen up for more information on RBC Training Grounds' free qualifying events taking place across the country through March and April. Scan our QR code. And hot tip, if you're attending the qualifier in Toronto or Brampton this month, the one and only RBC Olympian, Cynthia Appiah, will be there cheering you on. Come on. Can I go? Or you have to be between 20, I'm too old,
We
right?
should do a 40-plus program.
Yeah, just to see you in action and get you to train me.
Oh, definitely.
Anyway, we're gonna be right back.
Hey there, wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.